So have y'all ever looked at some of the names of old baseball players? I mean, I fell down quite the rabbit hole down last night, and I think I found my top 5 of these names. I'm going to share them. The number 5 is Boots Poffenberger. Number 4, Snuffy Sternweiss. Number 3, Peekaboo Veach. Number 2, Vinegar Ben Measle. And then number 1, my personal favorite, Chappie Snodgrass. Frank, do you know any of these guys?
I mean, I saw a couple of them. A few of those guys I don't really remember too well, but I did see a couple of them.
Episode 13 of the Mets Weekly Podcast. Baseball is back. It is time for our first impressions. Welcome to 60 minutes of brutal honesty. So y'all know the drill by now. Subscribe to the Mets Weekly channel for more content, videos, streams. Follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and all of us individually. The links are in the description. For those of you listening to us on our 8 available listening platforms, we are closing in on our first 1,000 plays. So thank you guys so much for that. That's awesome. On to the podcast. So 4 games in, the Mets are 3-1. We're in first place. The Braves lost today.
Yeah, again, pretty solid. We had a pretty solid debut. You see the Bats are in mid-season form with, going quiet one game and not hitting a lick, but, a solid couple offensive outings. The bullpens look great. Ever since everyone's like, oh, the bullpen's going to die because we lost a reliever, they've looked perfectly fine without him. So, one series in, again, it's 4 games. Yes, it's against the Marlins, which historically we can never beat, but, it's April. This team is the greatest team in April. It's nice. It's a good start, but we always seem that. We always do this. We always have that first couple weeks. It's good to see, but, I would like to, maybe struggle occasionally and then get hot later, but, it's a nice start.
For the most part, the team still looks very similar to last year, but, the big changes with the rule changes, the way the game is flowing differently. I mean, Dennis Santana getting a strikeout on a pitch that he never even threw. It's just those things like that everyone's still getting adjusted to. Some hits that maybe, were not hits last year and now hits this year. So everybody's still adjusting to it. But at least they won the series against Miami. It was still tough. They still made us sweat it out. But you know what? It just comes down to win as many series as you can. Just do what you can control. But there definitely are some things that aren't perfect. There's definitely things that could be improved that I'm sure we'll get to later on.
I'm just glad that we don't play the Marlins 19 times this year because this Luis Ariz guy is going to kill me.
The batting champion.
I hate this guy. I really don't like him at all. And he's a pest. I can't. He fits the Marlins mold way too good. And I hate that guy. I think we'll start off today's podcast with the greatest news that we could possibly find and talk about. A few days ago, the Mets finally came to their senses. The Mets have designated Darin Ruf for assignment, keeping him off the opening day roster and ending his short-lived tenure with the club. The Mets acquired Ruf at last year's trade deadline in exchange for J.D. Davis and 3 additional minor league pieces. With the Mets, the 36-year-old veteran slashed 152, 216, 197 with a 24 WRC plus in 74 plate appearances. The Mets will owe Ruf $3 million this season, raising their total to $34 million in retained salaries.
Yeah, just finally ripping off the bandage. We know the story. And now we'll see Tommy Pham. Hey, one good game against lefties today. So if he's going to be that, he's going to be Yordan Alvarez against lefties. We'll take that every day of the week, almost hitting for a cycle. And, love Tommy Pham. Always, I love the signing. I love that guy. But, he played well today. We'll see if that can continue. Again, having having some time at DH as well. But, again, with Ruf, we've said our piece about him. It seems like if you were going to do this, you might as well done it in the offseason and not lost a couple, Muckingherm or whoever, one of the relievers you lost because you DFA'd instead of him. Again, it's just another waiver wire arm. You could have used it, probably would have been more useful than Darin Ruf. But again, at least this is the third time we've seen this in the Cohen regime. If you're not good enough, get the hell out. The money is not going to be the problem. Cohen will pay. Add it to the island of irrelevancy of $40 million to just guys sitting in Barbados.
Who was that pitcher?
I think also saw Acevedo. Didn't they lose? Yeah, they saw Acevedo.
Acevedo.
Yeah, lefty.
And it was one of the lefties. Yeah,
Yeah. So there you go. Sunk cost right there.
I mean, we knew it was overdue. We said it from the beginning. I mean, we weren't even willing to give him the spring training opportunity. We just, kept our arms on the waiver wire and what have you. But I am glad that they made this decision before the season even started, because it was like I said on an earlier podcast that there were just so many things going against him. I'm telling you, if he did make the team, that first game in Citi Field, he's getting booed out the stadium. I mean, it was just very hard to see him, making the most out of it. And again, somebody like Tim LeCastro, who not a great player, but he holds more value. Like, at least LeCastro can move around a little bit. I mean, you saw when Daniel Vogelbach pinch hit, I believe it was the Saturday game. If Vogelbach got on, LeCastro was pinch running. Then LeCastro made the start. He got hit by a couple of pitches. I mean, when was the last time Darin Ruf got on base twice in a single game? And then, LeCastro was flying around the bases on the Tommy Pham hits. So at least you're getting someone who does something. And LeCastro, he started in the outfield, gave Canna that DH role, which was really good, because at least Mark Canna, someone who is older, you keep him rested, maybe keep him in the lineup a little more, because we saw a lot, especially early last year. Canna was playing, 2 out of every 4 days or whatever, something like that. They rested him a lot, and his bat just wasn't in the lineup. But if you have somebody like LeCastro making those starts in the outfield and Canna gets the DH, that's pretty nice to have. Meanwhile, Darin Ruf, he wasn't going to – I mean, he did play the outfield in September against Oakland. We know how that went. But I'm just glad that they did it. But now it's up to Tommy Pham. And what concerns me now is that now that Tommy Pham and Canna are both like the DH against the lefties, is that who's your fourth outfielder? Like, it becomes Jeff McNeil now. And, when you're facing a lefty, that means you're starting Guillorme against the lefty. You're starting McNeil against lefty if you need that fourth outfielder. So we know the injury concerns with Nimmo, with Marte, even with Canna being a little older, that if an outfielder does get hurt, things get a little dicey. I mean, because then you have to call up Vientos, because, I mean, again, what is your alternative? We talked about that so much, of not getting, multiple new bats into this team. They're kind of playing a little behind now, because this was a guy that stayed on their 40-man for a long time that they thought was going to make the team, but he still couldn't show anything. So it was just a waste of time the whole offseason.
So in terms of fourth outfielders, I mean, obviously we have Tim LeCastro here with, switching in Pham and Canna from DH and left field. If they were to do that, do you consider him like a fourth outfielder, or do you just see him as a pinch runner?
I don't. I mean, I view LeCastro more as a pinch runner. I mean, I tweeted I was surprised that LeCastro even got a start in the first series of the year. I thought it was a little early. I know Buck likes to keep everybody involved, especially in the beginning of the season, but I always say, like, you have to prove it to me. Like, LeCastro hasn't earned, the fourth outfielder job yet. Like, he had a great spring training, don't get me wrong, but I mean, fourth outfielder on a veteran team, you're playing pretty frequently. I mean, just look at Tommy Pham. Like, he's played a lot. I mean, he played almost every day at this point. So, with the DH being involved in National League, like, these guys will be playing a lot. So I said, I mean, we're going way, way back. If I could have gotten Correa and traded Escobar for like a true, outfielder that is versatile, that could play center field, play it well, and kind of hit against lefties, that should be what the Mets were doing. But, again, we just talk about that asset management. When you trade 4 assets for a guy like Darin Ruf, just to DFA him the next year, not good asset management. It's something we've critiqued for a long time, but they continue to make these mistakes.
At least they finally admitted it. And I'm just happy that Billy Epler came up to the media mic and just said, you know what? This was a trade that failed, and I accept it, and I take it. Finally. 6 months later than I wanted him to. And
what's so weird is that going into the week, I mean, before opening day, Billy Epler was giving the reporters like some sarcasm, and he was being a little bit of a jerk when they're asking him about Darin Ruf. He's like, I'll let you know at 11:59 on Thursday, okay? I mean, you let us know before that. So I don't know why he got so like sensitive about it and was just being so weird about it just when he was going to DFA the guy anyway. So I don't know, what secret he was trying to hold or who he was trying to fool, but he just made a fool of himself acting like that. Just to, again, like, it's always like, what do your actions say? Like, you could say one thing, but what you actually do is what really matters.
I mean, I'd say he isn't the people's people, but he seems socially okay. Like, I don't know what to even say about that, but yeah, that was just so weird. I don't know if he was making jokes or anything, or he's just being like, just awkward, passive aggressive, doesn't want to reveal anything, keep things behind closed doors. But yeah, that was awkward. I didn't know what the hell that was, but you know what? At the end of the day, The only thing that matters is that Darin Ruf is not here. It was a disaster. Yeah. And we've said this so many times, it goes unsaid at this point. It's going to go down as one of the worst trades in Mets history. We know it. It will. Who's worse? Who's worse, Mr. Andrew?
We're comparing a just bum bench player. We've given up how many top prospects? Unless Carson Seymour turns into the next Camilo Doval, no one will remember this trade in about a year. If the Mets, no one's going to remember this in like 2 years. Unless,
What trade is worse, though?
A lot of trades have been worse for prospects. Give me a couple minutes and I'll give you.
List them for me.
It's a bench player. Yeah, it worked out. PCA for Javi Baez in 1.5 year of Trevor Williams. That's pretty much worse because PCA could turn out to be an all-star caliber. We're going to forget about, again,
but that doesn't have any result yet. That doesn't have any result.
And we don't have the result of this trade. Yes, was he bad for the Mets? Yeah.
Yes, we do.
We don't need.
We do have the results. The guy's fucking DFA'd and owed $3 million. Did the Mets win this trade? No. Did the Giants win this trade? Who the hell knows?
Not really. Again, who cared? It's a bench player. We will forget this even happened in probably 2 years. This isn't, again, did they give up a PCA? Did they give up a generational talent on the other end? No. It's a bad trade, yes.
Carson Seymour's a nice arm.
But will he ever be anything? And if that happens,
absolutely.
Then we can have the conversation.
He's got 99 gas in the tank. He'll be in the majors, bitch.
Okay.
And the Mets are so just depleted of young arms that could actually be major league caliber sometime soon that losing him for Darin Ruf is just, I would say really bad trade as far as how bad Ruff's performance was. Not the actual, what you gave up and what you got back. It's still a terrible trade as far as how he performed as a Met because, like you said, the 24 WRC plus, the this, the that, it was hard to be worse than he was. And, a team that historically, especially this past half decade or decade or so, has really struggled against left-handed pitching. This is the guy you get to, face lefties, and that's not just a bench player. When you're in the playoffs and you're facing a lefty, he's going to make starts for you. So he was more than just a bench player, and it was just an overall disaster.
It was a major need. It was just a major need. The lefty killing power bat to protect Alonso, and that's what they went with, and it just didn't work out. Did not work out whatsoever. So for a few hours, it was happy opening day, and then it wasn't in typical Mets fashion. The Mets have placed Justin Verlander on the injured list due to a low-grade major teres strain. Verlander said that this isn't the best-case scenario, but this is probably a second-base case. Very minimal. The fact that I will be going to be able to continue to throw shows how minor this is. If this was the playoffs, I would be pitching. The Mets went on to recall Tyler McGill from AAA Syracuse to take his roster spot, with Verlander set to be reevaluated in a week.
This is as typical. I hate to say it, but it's just typical Mets. We talked about it so much that when you sign guys who are 40 or near 40, there is just, you automatically know there's a very high risk for injury. And the fact that the season didn't even start and he's already hurt, not a great sign. Now, did Jacob deGrom pitch well? No. And deGrom has injury concerns? Yeah. There are still alternative ways you could have gone about it. Different things you could have done. And again, I always go back to maybe trading deGrom for young pitchers that could have gotten the job done if you weren't going to keep them. But I hope that this isn't, major, even though the word major is in the injury description as far as the body part itself. You hope he's back soon because, we've just had, as Met fans, it's hard to feel confident because we've had so many of these just, minor injuries, just a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And it turns out the guy's out for months or he comes back and then something else goes out. So not a good start to a multi-year deal of a 40-year-old pitcher. But you know what? And we talked about it, the depth. It's tested immediately because Quintana goes out. Verlander goes out. So next injury, who's the next man up? Is it Budo? Is it Eliezer Hernandez? Is it Lucchesi?
Eliezer Hernandez is hurt.
He's hurt too. So we're one Carrasco BS something pull from an absolute bum in the rotation in the first week of the season. Because we already got two guys in. And we knew that Pierce and McGill, we had a debate, who might make the team? They're both in already. And the season didn't even start. They're both already in the rotation. So they're one just garbage thing away, one blister, one whatever from God knows who in the rotation.
We talked about this in our off-season checklist months ago about having multiple durable arms. They got Jose Quintana. That doesn't look to be working out about as durable. Kodai Senga, question mark. Didn't know. We don't know at all. There were some concerns about his injury history before he signed his contract. Justin Verlander, old. There was a reason why they needed multiple durable arms. And I understand McGill, Peterson, Carrasco just needed somebody else that could eat some innings. And will Dylan Bundy probably make some starts? It's possible. I hope it doesn't get to that point because he's just not really that good. You know, I'm always here expecting the worst with this whole situation. I'll give my prediction real quick and then I'll go to Andrew. I think you see 3 rotation turns and then he comes back.
What the hell kind of, again, and the fact that he's injured, what the hell is this injury? Like, now we're making up body parts. Like, what the hell? I'm looking. We get the notification, and I'm just like,
this is a Taiwan Walker injury.
Yeah, this was the exact. I don't even know where that is on the body part. And then Gary Keith, the runner, like, oh, it's in his armpit.
Fuck.
So what? He put deodorant wrong? Like, did he put deodorant on wrong? Like, how the hell? Like, I don't know where again it was, but whatever, it happens. Again, 40-year-old, again, the veterans, that's what they want. And, as hopeful as we are, we knew they weren't going to get 200 innings out of both of them. Verlander's already has his, whatever, if it's a week or 2, 3, whatever the hell it ends up being. Again, it looks to be minor, so I'm going to treat it as, if he even said if it was a playoff game, he would pitch. So keeping it, hopefully it's, like you said, 2 or 3 times through, and then he's back the end of April, hopefully. So I'm going to keep it as that because I've been called out for negatives. I'm going to be the positive one today. Hopefully, again, it's only 2 times through. David Peterson and Tyler McGill just keep kicking ass and throwing up 1 or 0 runs, and we're going to be fine. We'll be fine.
The pain in your voice when you said that. I'm glad that they just kind of cut the cord here before opening day, before games even started. I'm glad that they did that. It was the right decision because we all know what my deal was with Taiwan Walker. Let's say pitches the home opener, pitches like shit, and then says, "Oh, well, my terrace hurts. My terrace major hurts." I didn't want to hear that from Taiwan Walker, who was making $10 million, and I definitely don't want to hear that from my ace, who is making $43 million. They're just taking it slow going into the year. You kind of saw it in the last appearance that he made in spring training. Velocity was down, walking a lot of guys. So I'm not surprised because he did not look comfortable on the mound those last 2 appearances he had in spring. Take it with a grain of salt. It sucks, but it's a 162 game season, and maybe we'll have him back by August. Fingers crossed. All right, so that brings us to more injury news as we get an update on Jose Quintana. A few weeks ago, Quintana underwent bone graft surgery to repair a lesion on his rib. The Mets reportedly expected Quintana back in July at the earliest, but joining the team in Miami this week, Quintana said he is hopeful that he will return this season. This week, the Mets southpaw said he will start moving and doing workouts and taking the process one step at a time. Quintana said that the good thing is I feel better, but in terms of starter workload, I do not know when I'm going to be back, but for sure, it's going to be one day closer after workouts.
I don't feel as good. I mean, when you say hopeful he'll return sometime this season, that just means, who the heck knows? And it's one of those scary things because it isn't your, trace major strain or hamstring strain or elbow tightness. When you have something like this, the bone graft surgery, it's just such an unknown. It's so uncommon that, I hope he comes back okay. But the main thing is, like I said before, you root for the guy. You just hope that he's healthy and that everything is okay health-wise with him. If he comes back, great. If he doesn't, there's bigger things than baseball. Even as big a Met fan as I care more about the person. So I don't feel as good. I would like to see the Mets, regardless of if Quintana comes back or not. Unfortunately, they don't have too much they could trade. I mean, if they don't want to move the Mauricio, if they don't want to move the Vientos, but I would really like to see them try to add another starting pitcher, another quality, like we said, durable, makes the starts, which Quintana was supposed to be again. It was just really, really unfortunate, just unlucky, really. I mean, the way it happened. But just someone who is durable and makes those 5 innings, because we'll get to Senga next. I have a big thing I want to talk about with him, but just that guy who makes those starts and goes deep into games. You don't take him after 4 innings, 5 innings. Like, they need somebody to eat innings, because if they're relying on the bullpen to get this many innings every single series, it's going to make it tougher. I mean, like we say, overworked bullpen is a not as effective bullpen. So it may be okay right now, but if you continue to do this, all of a sudden, Nogosek, Dennis Santana, I don't know how many more times you get away with him going back-to-back days and things like that. Robertson, Ottavino are older. You can only use them so much. So I really like to see them be proactive, because if Quintana is such a mystery, and again, it's if he comes back, and if he does, how will he perform? You know what I mean? Like, how does the whole rehab process go? I really like to see the team be proactive here, because, like we said, we already got the Verlander thing. We already know the other injury concerns, the rest of the rotation. Like, it should have been a priority in the offseason, but now it's like, I really like to see them do something, just they'll be prepared in case anything happens.
Yeah, because Jose Quintana with the greatest quote ever. The next day I'll be closer to coming back. Yeah, that's how days work. The next day, it's a day. Every time a day goes, you do get a day closer to coming back to the major leagues. So good for him. Again, we said the thing last week. Again, you lose your 5 and fly guy, and that's the kind of the quality 180 innings we were penciling in for this rotation is from Quintana. And had the surgery, whatever. We'll see him, in like 7 years, and Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid, but he'll finally maybe show up to work. But again, he's a vet. We'll see if they add any more. Again, maybe use more waiver wire claim guys like Dylan Bundy. I would keep doing that if I'm Billy Epler. If anyone else gets DFA'd, we maybe have some upside as a kind of 3 to 4 inning kind of swingman or anything like that. Needs to continue to be aggressive, trying to stash these minor league deals and keep claiming guys and putting them in Syracuse. But again, we'll see if we ever see Quintana. But we got David Peterson, so we got our lefty elite southpaw in a rotation who's going to win the Cy Young. So what do we need Jose Quintana for? Just to be a Trevor Williams replacement? Like, come on.
I'm ignoring that. Last week, we talked about Jose Quintana's injury, and I said I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him at all this season. From what I took from what he said in Miami with the team this week, I think that's starting to be true. Like, I really would not be surprised if you see this guy like at all this season. If you see him in August or September, I would not be surprised. Bone graft surgery, that just doesn't sound right at all to me. This is just kind of how all of these injuries have kind of just been so far from the beginning of spring training to now. And we all know that pitching is as complicated as it comes. It's the most injury prone position in the sport. The crazy thing is that you have to be like a fucking surgeon to know what these injuries are. Lower grade stress major surgery or whatever the hell it is. What else? Bone graft surgery. I mean, I have no idea what the hell is going on here, and it just makes me even more nervous. So the fact that our most expected durable guy has this bone graft surgery or a lesion on his rib. Initially, I thought it said lettuce on his rib when I read it a few weeks ago. Like, I'm just full on dyslexic. I don't get this at all. And I'm kind of scared, but you know what? We talked about this being a bargain and a discount, $13 million a year for what most of the starting pitchers were getting. So not that big of a hit, but yeah, again, going back to what Frank said about adding a starting pitcher, that's obviously something for the deadline and everything. But, durability is something that the Mets are definitely lacking in this rotation. And you can throw in as many arms as you can, whether they give you quality or not. The injuries are just going to happen throughout 162 games, and stay healthy. That's it. Put everyone in bubble wrap when they're done pitching, and that's it. As we're recording this today, Kodai Senga made his major league debut against the Marlins. Now, Senga pitched 5.1 innings, 3 hits, 1 earned run, started off a little rocky, walked 3 batters, 8 strikeouts, throwing 88 pitches. His fastball sat at 96 to 97, reaching 99. His signature ghost fork was on display, posting 9 total whiffs and 0 hard hits, as Senga became the 14th Japanese-born player to ever make their debut for the Mets.
Yeah, so obviously I was much anticipating Mr. Senga's debut, and after we've talked so much about him throughout the offseason, throughout spring training, and definitely got a little nervous in that first inning where you're seeing the 30 pitches and you're seeing the walks and the bases loaded, and you're like, oh boy, I mean, we have a lead here. I mean, let's not lose it instantly. So it definitely was a little nerve-wracking, but then he got it going. I really liked how all of a sudden he was using the fastball a lot more early in the count. get ahead, and then use the ghost fork as the put-away pitch. I thought that definitely is a really nice recipe for success. Will hitters catch on to it eventually? We'll see. But I'm just curious. Mostly, there's two things that stand out to me most. Number one, he struggled in the first inning because he was nervous, overthrowing, first start in the major leagues, whatever. What's his mental makeup? Because if you're nervous against the Marlins, I'm going to need you to not be nervous come postseason time. Big game against the Braves in September. I mean, we gotta be big boys here. You know, I mean, this is not no rookie team. Like, we're trying to win now. We got a big payroll. We're asking you to be top of the line rotation guy. You can't, be getting real nervous against the Marlins. I mean, I need a little bit better mental makeup there. But we'll see if that's a continuous thing or if it's just a one-time thing. We'll see. I mean, he hasn't dealt with major league pressure yet. We'll see how he handles it. But the other thing that stood out to me was pulling him after 88 pitches. That was very interesting to me because Tyler McGill threw over 90 pitches.
I got your explanation for that. 90 pitch limit. That's what Buck Showalter said.
Why?
No clue. But that was what was reported.
No, that's what I'm saying. Why? Like, why? I mean, because if he's going to be your middle of the rotation guy, because you have the two super old guys, like the guy that's in the middle that's kind of going to eat things, throw a lot of pitches. If he's only going to be going 90 pitches and not much more, I'm not crazy about that. Like, is there something that we don't know? Is there something else going on where Senga can't handle 100 pitches? Because, again, I know Bassett got bombed, but he was going 115 pitch, 130 pitch. I know nowadays most pitchers don't do that. Bassett is like a very rare breed in that regard, but I'm just like, McGill to me is someone I would have had a pitch limit on because he had so many injuries last year and he's just building back up. I would not let McGill go over 90 pitches. But for me to have Senga cap out at 88, 89, why would I even have him do the up down and only face one batter if I'm that concerned about him? So I'm just kind of curious, will they give him a bigger leash next time around? We'll see. But I just thought compared to McGill, compared to Peterson, I was a little surprised that he was the guy who had the limit on.
I think they're just trying to ease him into the 5-day work, basically. Like, 90 pitches, 5 days later. Because do they have any off days in between his next start? No, exactly. So I guess that's what the ease in is. But
I kind of love that he had that first inning struggle because Frank being nervous, I wanted to see what happens when you put him in the pressure cooker situation, bases loaded, nobody out, and getting out of that, only giving up the one run. Yes, maybe some defensive luck, having Marte in the right spot, but hey, that's what the coach is supposed to do. That's what I wanted to see. I didn't want him to come out here smooth like butter, going 10 pitches, striking. I didn't want that. I wanted to see that mental makeup you talk about. How does he do that? Bases loaded, nobody out. Strikes out Gurriel. His bat's going halfway to Puerto Rico in that first strikeout.
Well, Gurriel also tried to kill Dennis Santana, too.
You really need some pine tar. Put some pine tar and hold on to that bat a little more. But then the battle back. And the ghost fort looked great. All of his strikeouts came with the ghost fort. So you love to see that. But again, they treat him like a rookie. At most teams, rookies, 85 pitches, get up, get out of there, give me 5.
Yeah, but rookies don't get $70 million and are almost 30 years old when they come over. He's not a true rookie. He's not coming out of college. He's coming out of Japan.
Did he have the MLB rookie patch? Yes. He's a rookie. He's never pitched in the major league. It's 88 pitches. It's not like he threw 74 or 65. He threw 88. That's a decent amount of pitching for today's kind of young rookie pitcher in the major leagues. I'm not going to go crazy. 88 pitches. He throws 2 more, gets to 90. Would have that made that big a difference? No.
I'm not looking for 90. I'm looking for, like, if McGill's throwing 93, 94, and this is your mid-rotation guy because you're not going to push Verlander when he comes back.
We're splitting hairs over a few pitches.
Again, exactly. Somebody's got to pitch the innings. Like, it's not going to be Peterson. Unless Scherzer just going to break his oblique again, somebody's got to eat the innings on this team. Somebody's got to do it. Or else, again, your bullpen is going to get overworked. It's not going to go well. Somebody's got to do it. So if you sign Senga knowing that he can't be that guy that's replacing Bassett as far as eating innings, and Quintana, again, like, he made starts, but again, he was pitching 5-6 innings. He wasn't getting crazy high pitch counts. If you still don't get that guy, that's what I'm saying. It looks like they really need a trade in this rotation. Somebody, I got to look at it and research who might be available, who can actually fill this role. But right now, you try to piece together innings, looks like it's going to be a battle day in, day out.
It's almost like it made sense to move Carrasco for more durable arms or
A
something.
Steven Matz type trade. It's not like we said
That's
that all
weird.
offseason.
Isn't that weird?
We're talking about his first start. This isn't mid-June. This is game 4 of the season. We don't need to kill him in the first weekend. And he already had a little injury bug in spring training. We're not going to kill the guy in April unless you want to see him. You want to see him in October? Yes. Do I love coddling him? No. Would I have liked him to got to the McGill? Yes. But if that was, hey, get him 5 and first start in the big leagues, go that 90 pitch route and get up out of here. Cool. 5 and fly. Cool. We'll see. Slow again. He is adjusting to pitching again. Like we said, he only pitched once a week. There's going to be weeks where he's going to pitch 2 times again. Ease him in. Yes, I understand what you're talking about with the bullpen. I know they need to add to address that. But we're talking about game 4 of the season. It's the first week of the season. I'm not going to start yelling. If this is a continuation, 4 or 5 starts in, then we can have that conversation. It's the first start of his career. Ended on a good note. Didn't he strike out the last guy? Let him end out with some positivity, and then get him out. Unless, again, you had Dennis ready. You were going to go no-go for 2 anyway. So you Buck penciled in no-go to go for 2, Curtis and Santana, and the game 4-run lead. If this is maybe start 5 or 6, then I would be more like with you, being like, okay, is this guy really let him get a couple of starts in the big league before we start jumping to conclusions. It's game 1, start 1 of game 4 of the season. We got 162 of these. Let's get the kid some starts to see if that's the case. So this is just, hey, give him some confidence, get him out early, move on.
I don't view him as a kid. I think he just has higher expectations. He's older than most rookies. I mean, the guy's 30. He's not a kid. They gave him $70 million. Like, come on. I don't know. I'm just old school, maybe, but we'll see.
And again, you've already had 2 injuries in your rotation. You're going to try to risk again. Ease him in. It's okay. It's April.
I'm not trying to – if the guy can't handle it, don't sign him. That's the way I look at it. I mean, again, if you're assembling a team like this, somebody's got to pitch the innings. That's just what it comes down.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna look for those innings with someone from Japan in April. It's a whole new country. It's a whole new mound. It's a whole new ball. It's a whole new this.
This
whole
guy
new that.
is just
the adjustments
of
the adjustments. They're there. And the fact that he only had 1 run ball for 5 innings. Listen, I'm not going to be making the whole new adjustment excuses for him like in his 10th start of the season. That's not going to happen. But like, we're just at the beginning here. I'm not going nuts at all. Just don't kill him. That's it. That's all I ask. Don't kill him. Don't kill pitchers. That's what we're trying to do here. Just don't kill them. Most of my favorite ones are dead already. Just stay. Just let's ease him in. It's fine. He's a rookie. So what are you going to do? 30-year-old rookie. Listen, the Knicks weren't overplaying Pablo Prigioni. I mean, at 36.
Exactly.
Look how that worked out. He was great off the bench for us. So now is time for a tradition that I hope will be a tradition every week or every other week. We'll see. With the season beginning, it's introducing the lineup card. So we have 9 different topics related to the Mets. Some are current topics with this team, some are historic topics, and some are here for stupidity. Now, Frank and Andrew will go back and forth picking a number between 1 and 9 until we have 1 topic left, which will be answered by all 3 of us in roundtable style. Now, you may recognize this game from Baseball Night in New York on SNY, but this version I believe is better because we don't have to look at Andy Martino. Picking a number between 1 through 9, Andrew, I'll start with you.
All right, I'll go with the spot that I hit most in my career. I'll go with the 5 spot.
Starting this one off with some stupidity. Okay, which current Met would you not want to be stuck in an elevator with?
Pete Alonso. He's a weird dude, and if you're stuck in the elevator, things are going to get weird, and he'll bring up some weird topics being like, do you think there's aliens on Mars, and do you think they would like cows, or some shit like that? Like, he has that, you give his mind plenty of time and space and locked in a small area. Pete Alonso would not be a guy I want to be locked in with.
I thought you were going to say you guys would talk about food or something. I thought you guys would get along pretty well.
We got a history. I don't think I can look at him that long.
I would love to be stuck in an elevator with Eduardo Escobar because he's very funny.
I pick number 3.
More likely to happen this season: Starling Marte steals 60 bases, or Francisco Lindor hits 35 home runs.
Definitely Lindor hitting the 35 home runs. They unfortunately don't send Marte enough, and I want to send Marte, but I'm not sending him that much. There's just too much cause for injury with those hammies. Lindor, like, if he needs to hit 35, he's not off to a great start with the power. But, I mean, who knows with this new Citi Field dimensions? I mean, maybe a few more sneak through. So, and, we're not facing those annoying teams as much. We get to go into those other fun ballparks. He gets to be in the AL Central again a little more, so maybe a little more familiarity. So I'll say better chance Lindor.
Career high is 47, Marte.
That was the one with Oakland, right, where he went nuts.
He has 2 seasons of 47. Kind of expecting like 102 from him this year, but
I mean, he already has 2 this season, so 2 per series. Let's go with the guy with the best hitter in the lineup today. Let's go with that 9 spot.
Form an elite 5-tool player with the abilities of a current Met.
Pete Alonso's pure power, speed of Tim LeCastro, the hit ability of Tim LeCastro, and let's get we got? Fielding. We need the fielding of Tommy Pham. So that sounds like a generational talent right there.
I knew I couldn't do this one with him.
And whose arm?
Oh, the arm, Brandon Nimmo. Gotta have the lead arm of Brandon.
Frank, if you want to answer this one honestly, you could make up for it if you want.
I'd probably go McNeil's contact. Then you have Alonso's power. Then you go probably LeCastro speed. I mean, even though Marte can move a little bit too, a little bit of a better base runner. But as far as glove, Lindor, and then arm, Lindor's arm looks pretty good. It looks better than it was when I used to tweet about it. I still like Marte's arm. It just looks clean. I mean, that's just a really strong arm out there in right field. So I'll go with him.
Frank, pick your number.
The leadoff spot.
One Met that you would pull out of retirement and insert into the current Mets lineup.
I mean, I need some offense at catcher. I need someone to protect Pete Alonso. I need another big bat. Alvarez could get all the seasoning everybody wants. He could get real nice and seasoned and get all the training and practice he needs while Piazza's out here hitting dingers. So, Mike Piazza.
I mean, I personally need my pure power upgrade. As much as I love Mark Canha, I'm going to move Starling Marte to left field, keep him healthy, and I'm bringing back Darryl Strawberry to protect Pete Alonso.
Yeah,
I need my power. I'm sorry. Too much. There's not enough.
So I love we all have a different answer. I need pitching. Give me Seaver in a rotation. You want your 9-inning guy? Go give me a
but Andrew, when the team's scoring 1 run, I mean, and listen, are these the days when you're allowed to pitch 9 again? Can he pitch 9 again? We're gonna give him an 88 pitch limit too.
I mean, if we're inserting into the era, he's on a pitch limit, I guess.
There you go. And they scored him no runs. And then freaking Dennis Santana and Steven Agosta are coming in after him, and good luck. With the bottom 3 of Escobar, Nido, LeCastro. Good luck. Good luck, Seaver. Have fun.
Let's go with the cleanup spot. Let's go 4.
The next uniform number the Mets should retire.
It's probably it's going to be the next one they retire. It's going to be Wrights. So, but it seems like it's going to happen probably in the next 2 years. So probably David.
I'd say Carter first.
Yeah, no, I mean Carter be next.
And then you can do Wright because you got to get the 2 captains in there. If you're going to get Keith Hernandez, you got to do Gary Carter. But I'm fine with retiring Wright's number. He's my favorite player ever. Frank's your turn. Which slider do you think you have a better chance of hitting if you're a major league player? Brooks Raley or Adam Ottavino?
Probably Raley because Otto's is just it goes so far. My bat's not going to reach it. So I'll go after Raley.
I'd rather face Otto's. This is softer. I mean, it's a loopier. It's not as hard. Raley's has got some velocity to it. I mean, obviously, any of us are hitting it.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have a better chance with the slower velocity of Otto. I'll take the fraudulent batting champion spot today. I'll take number 6.
This one's a perfect one for you.
Oh, boy.
One all-time Met that you liked for absolutely no reason at all.
Oh, God, I know what this is.
I mean, the obvious answer is Tim. The new one is Tim LeCastro, but we got to get it's every stream his name is said or video is said. It's the Long Island Ducks batting champ himself, Alejandro Diaz. And it's not for what he did on his career as a Met on the field when he was active in 2017 or whatever. He sucked. Yeah, he was horrible. But just for the memes of how he's become and went to the Long Island Ducks, absolutely raked. And we know there's a trend because we know he's going to get a spot on this team at some point. These outfielders do go down because the Mets
June 13th.
We know at some point his outfield depth is going to be so thin that Epler's like, you know what? I need a batting champ because we love our batting champs here. Let's call up Alejandro for round 2. And you know he's going to come up and hit a big hit just like Aaron Altair. That one random homer he comes up and hits and never does anything.
Mine's Marlon Byrd. He was just cool. I thought he was cool. He also hit some fat nukes. He had some pop in his bat.
All right, so I'll take
2v2 pickup basketball game. Which current Met are you taking as your teammate?
just because he's my guy. I'm going to take David Peterson. He's a big fella.
So you're running point, basically? You need a big man.
I'm short, so I need somebody tall with me. I can't take another short guy. It'd be a long day.
That makes sense, Andrew.
Just because I think I've seen some video of him playing in the clubhouse and playing with the Nationals, and just the competitor and the doggies. Give me Scherzer, because I think there's some video of him hooping. Scherzer, get him on the hardware. Let's see what happens.
He's got that old man game, bank shots for days.
Hey, but again, I can just be my Kyle Korver ass, the white guy in the corner shooting threes. I can let Max facilitate everything, hit me in the corner.
I need the best athlete.
Dan Vogelbach.
So I would go with Starling Marte. Daniel Vogelbach's a close second.
Just set screens.
A 6-foot fat guy just setting screens for me.
I mean, McGill, maybe. He's a big
McGill,
fella.
he's got some size to him. Yeah.
McGill's got size. I mean, if you need a big man with you, Frank, Bryce is the guy to.
Well, he doesn't have a shoulder.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. We'll be playing, he'll get hurt.
He doesn't have to shoot though. Just arm in a sling. He'll be fine. Now, this one is actually kind of good connecting to a video that I put out this week. So I guess it's just for you guys. I put out a video about 5 players I like for 2023 and 5 players I dislike for 2023. So one that you like and one that you dislike.
Who I love is Brett Beatty. Get him up here at this point. And who do I don't like? Well, I do the tandem. It's a third base battle. One I hate, and Eduardo Escobar and Brett Beatty. It's like Escobar, how much more? I get it. Good clubhouse, good glue guy. I don't need nice guys. I'd rather have a team hate each other that are all super talented and win than a bunch of, hey, we like each other, but we're mediocre.
I love me some Starling Marte. I mean, I just think he's so much fun to watch. A guy I don't like, pretty obvious, Drew Smith. I mean, this guy just comes in and it's fly ball after fly ball after fly ball, and it's just like me raging after me stressing after me just like crying when he comes into the game, because you just never know when he's gonna just give up that homer, and then he blocks me on Twitter. Like, I'll never like him. Like, I don't care if he plays good. I'll still never like him.
I still don't understand how he blocked you, what you did for him to block you.
I say he was a minor league reliever, and
it's what these players do. They name search after they pitch.
Most
of them name search.
That's what I don't get. He was blowing games, but he's mad at me.
In terms of name searching and Twitter and like social media, the name searchers, like, they're usually the less known players, and then also Marcus Stroman. Like, that's all right. So now let's get into the questions that you guys sent to us. If you guys want to submit a question, click the link in the description, fill out our form with your name and your Mets related question, and it could be featured in the next episode of the Mets Weekly Podcast. Our only question for today is from Jock to NYM. I like the way you think, my man. The player that you're most worried about with the new pitch clock. So it could be a batter or a pitcher, because it affects both.
I mean, the answer that I would have had in the offseason is starting off with a great start. So it really doesn't, I guess it didn't affect him that much. We still really don't have like a Kenley Jansen where it's like a blatant. Maybe Adam Ottavino. Maybe, because he does take a while when he's usually – last year he took a while when he gets into like kind of jams or whatever. So I guess that's maybe the guy that I haven't seen him pitch because I've worked every time that he's pitched today. So I haven't really seen him yet, but that would be a guy, long delivery, takes a while to decide last year. So I'll go Adam Ottavino.
Yeah, Otto was my guy. It wasn't even the pitch clock. It was the pickoffs and the amount of times you could throw over, only because Ottavino's a guy who's susceptible to stolen bases. And then if he can't even try to pick off, I'm just afraid of teams running wild at him. So if Ottavino comes into a situation where runners are on, or if he walks a batter and then that guy's taking second and maybe taking third, it just makes things a lot tougher for him to navigate around. So he was actually my concern, but for a different reason.
David Peterson, because he's looked like the most of a dork with this pitch clock.
You couldn't go one podcast. You couldn't go one podcast. I
mean, I would have said Mark Canha because he likes to like fuck around, and no, you can say both. Hitters are, because it affects both sides. David Robertson's a possibility because he said he doesn't even like the fucking thing. So yeah, I love that as my closer. I can't think of anybody else though. Like, to be honest, most of our guys get into the box pretty quick. Most of our guys work at a pretty fast pace. I mean, we have Max Scherzer, who
I
just
feel like
likes to
Vogelback is another guy who
poodle.
likes to really take his time.
That's just fat phobic again.
That's
No, but I'm serious. Like,
he beat me
he
like
from a lot of
that's my
adjustments,
stick,
and, like,
by the way.
he'll foul off and take his time getting back into the box. Like, I don't know.
So now that moves us to our favorite segment, everybody's favorite, studs and duds. Overreactions, shall we say. It's the overreactions version of it. We'll start with studs.
Probably this might be one of the very few times I can even say him. So I'm going to say Marcana. I really liked the game Saturday, extra base hits, driving the ball. He said he wants to put on some power, and he did that. He hit a home run. So, I mean, I hope that's the first of many, because somebody needs to do it, because it's not going to be a lot of the other guys in the lineup. So he's got to take initiative. So off to a good start. So I like what I've seen from Canada.
So, of course, Franklin about sports always stealing. So, you know what? I'm going to narrative ball Franklin about sports right now. The guy's name that should be said is our all-star catcher, Omar Narvaez. Already has more RBIs this season in 3 games than all of James McCann last season. So if that's not a point of Franklin about sports, just staying quiet and say, you know what, this was a good move. He's already been more productive than any catcher we've had the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, again, we knew that, though. Like,
no, you
did. You guys were raving about him, but look what we had. Like, he's better by default.
Franklin wanted him in a ditch, sent out because he wants this kid that barely can hit in spring training and was solid so far in Syracuse. Hit a homer, one little meaningless fly ball homer in right field. Production out of your 9-hole. You haven't seen that. Well, you saw it again today with Tim LeCastro. But so far this season, that 9-hole actually getting some value from the Mets, which is crazy to think about, especially where we're used to McChicken and Tomas Nido in that 9 spot. Getting some production out of that 9-hole does deserve some praise.
I don't know how you say narrative ball. That's a really good pick. He's been great. That was actually my pick. Thanks for stealing that. I also have a backup pick, and that being Dennis Santana. I like this guy's arm a lot. Nasty sinker, decent slider. Hopefully, how long he lasts, I don't know, but this guy, he's got a big arm to him. I like his slot a lot. Let's get to duds.
It's our, again, all-star third baseman. 1 for 15 to start the season, 7 strikeouts. While the kid down there has got 6 RBIs, 2 homers, 2 doubles, made 3 web gems already. Did have a throwing error in today's game, which I didn't see. Nobody wanted to put that out, but did have a throwing error. Josh Walker was not pitching well, but, gets an unearned run where Walker did not pitch well. But I haven't seen anyone say that. So there's your update from Beatty today. But, yeah, this guy is awful. Like, he's a nice guy. We get it. Until Beatty, just send him to the moon. Like, I'm not saying cut him. Have him be on the bench. Have him replace Luis Guillorme.
Funny.
Out of here.
He's funny. You forgot
just
funny.
Get him out of here.
He's funny.
He can be in the locker room.
No one cares, though.
Brett Beatty should have won the job at spring training, but this front office is like, you know what? We got to give Eduardo Escobar some ABs. He's 1 for 16, 7 strikeouts. Enough. And again, and it's not going to happen until June. So until it happens, until he proves he can be at least somewhat productive, he's the dud of this team.
Yeah, I mean, Escobar, he's a pretty obvious choice. It's not only the strikeouts, but it's also the groundouts. It's the pop-ups, and it's not having productive ABs. I mean,
so his usual production, basically?
Well, yeah, no, because, I mean, he's not even hitting the ball hard or working counts. It's just been automatic quick outs. So, and again, with Beatty having a good spring, playing really well right now, it better not take till June. I think, the fans are going to be clamoring, and it's probably going to happen sooner than that. We'll see. I mean, if Beatty keeps playing this way, Escobar keeps playing that way, like, it would kind of have to force their hand, I would hope. But for a little bit of variety, Tomas Nido. Amazing spring training, yet hitless. So what happened? I thought Nido figured it out. He's wearing batting gloves now. Nido was going to get it going again, and he's back to being hitless. So Tomas Nido's my.
Maybe that's your gateway to getting Francisco Alvarez up here. Yeah, he's back. He's back to his old tricks. I had Escobar because he just continues to be Escobar. I'll say, actually, fuck it. Eduardo Escobar. I mean, like, I hate this. I really hate this. I hate watching this. Please just cut it off. And we all know they're not going to cut it off until August, but it's just, I've had enough of this. I told you he's not that good. And now he's got Beatty breathing down his neck, and you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. But I think we need to build up his confidence. because every team that's trying to win now, we got to get him, some ABs from the left side and the right side. We got to build up the confidence and treat him the way that he treats us. He's a great guy. He's funny, and I think he should be here for a really long time for morale reasons. Just like Dom Smith is still here, just like JD Davis is still here, just like Robinson Cano is still here. I think humbleness goes a long way. So now that brings us to our rapid fire stories. Mets flame-throwing reliever Bryce Montes de Oca underwent surgery to remove loose bodies in his elbow. His UCL was later on determined as inefficient, which will require Tommy John surgery. This is Bryce's second Tommy John surgery in the last 3 years. The Mets' number 12 overall prospect, Joel Diaz, also underwent Tommy John surgery this week. Diaz is 19 years old, coming off his first full season last year with the St. Lucie Mets. Eliezer Hernandez will begin the 2023 season on the injured list with a right shoulder strain. The Mets acquired Hernandez along with Jeff Brigham from the Marlins. The Mets' number 3 overall prospect, Kevin Parada, and number 7 overall prospect, Blade Tidwell, will begin the 2023 season in High A Brooklyn. Both of them were selected by the Mets in the 2022 MLB draft. Parada in the first round and Tidwell in the second round. The Mets' number 5 overall prospect, Jet Williams, will start this season in Low A Port St. Lucie. Williams was the Mets' other first-round pick after Kevin Parada in the 2022 MLB draft as compensation for not signing Kumar Rocker the year before. The Independent League's Long Island Ducks have signed former Mets infielder Daniel Murphy. Murphy is now 38 years old and will join his old Mets teammate Ruben Tejada in the middle of the diamond this season. Parting words for episode 13.
Yeah, going to Milwaukee. So if I'm Billy Epler, I'm taking out me a nice little notepad and I'm gonna do some research because get some scouting for Mr. Devin Williams and Corbin Burns. Just in case, couple options. I've made it clear I do not believe in the Milwaukee Brewers, and I think they will be sellers this trade deadline. So, in hell, you know what? Even a nice little Mets heel, Jesse Winker. Get to see him again. Get to see how he does against the team that he seems to always kill. So it'll be entertaining. And Drew Smith gets to maybe get out this time in Milwaukee and maybe don't have to face Tyrone Taylor with the bases loaded. So I wouldn't, if I was Buck, I probably would stay away from that situation. But, maybe Drew gets his revenge.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how they do against Milwaukee. Facing Freddie Peralta, you're also going to see Corbin Burns in this series. I know Corbin Burns didn't have a good start his first time out, but the Mets going up against more good pitching. This offense, I don't believe in it too much, especially with how much the bench is playing. We know Milwaukee's known for their pitching factory. They just got a bunch of good arms in the pen and the rotation. So I'm just curious to see how this offense does against that because we don't see the Brew Crew often. So, it's always an interesting test to see the lineup.
Good luck in Milwaukee, I guess. 3 out of 4. Would have liked 4 out of 4. This team kind of stinks. But other than that, I'm going to just say it over and over again, but they just never listen to me because it always happens every single week. Please stay healthy. Don't hurt yourself. Please. I can't do this anymore. This is killing me. I'm barely holding it together. Other than that, thank you guys so much for watching and listening to the Mets Weekly Podcast, episode 14 next week. Let's go Mets. Just the start of a very long season. We'll see you guys next time. Peace out.